All right, DTFM base, here we are again. Got my steel toes ready to work. Gonna work on a little something different today. I will introduce you to one of my other vehicles, and that is my 2014 Volkswagen Touareg, and it is the executive package and the TDI. So it's got the 3-liter TDI engine in it. Lovely vehicle, super comfortable. Only thing I've really done to it was the executives came with a 20-inch wheel. I put a 18-inch wheel on it with some more aggressive off-road tires, mainly for some trail riding potentially, and then also my wife is a curb sniper, and those 20-inch wheels were not holding up very well. And then in here you'll see I tucked in some 18Z rotor and caliper set from a previous generation V10 turbo diesel. They're a little bit bigger in diameter, and it's 6-piston and larger pads. I do have a write-up on that on Club Touareg, I believe it is, but I'll do a video on it when I go in and replace the pads. That's coming soon. Kind of a look around. Not much else to see. These things are nice. They can tow about 7,000 pounds with a turbo diesel engine in there. That little dent, I wouldn't worry about that. That's just a little mishap with an umbrella at a cafe. Still trying to work through the finances on that. Anyway, here's what I'm going to be looking at today. It's the intake for the engine. I've been having some low idle light pedal surges and skips in like erratic idle as well. So I'm wondering if I have carbon buildup in my intake system here. I think they're kind of known for that. So I'll take off from right here, the throttle plate, into about the center here where the intake valving is, as well as the under here. You'll see it when I pull up the beauty cover here. There's a crankcase ventilation pipe that comes and attaches to this intake system here. I have seen some videos where they do remove the entire intake plenum from the top of the engine, but that's a plastic component, and from what I've seen, there wasn't a whole lot of buildup on that. I'm guessing maybe it's the surface finish or the material. The carbon isn't building up on those as much as it is these metal components, intake valve, and then I think they call them a scroll flap in there that manages the air between the intake runners. Those get clogged up, so I'm going to do some cleaning on that. Should be a straightforward process, and yeah, stand by. We'll get at it. I think most of what you need here is going to be some small sockets for these pipe clamps, and then I think T30s and T25s for mostly everything else. Alright, we'll start by removing the beauty cover. It sits on 4 posts with a little ball socket at each of the 4 corners. Just a light pull should grab that or lift it. There you can see the 4 points of contact and 4 studs. So what I'm going to be removing today is basically this section right here from the charge pipe to the intake plenum. I've watched a couple of videos on this now, and basically I noticed that the people that took off this air intake plenum, the buildup wasn't too bad in there. I don't know if it's a surface finish thing on the plastics versus metal, or if it's a materials thing, but it seems like this section here from the crankcase ventilation tube through this scroll valve area is what was most built up in carbon. So we'll just do this because it's going to be an easier job, and I just want to see if that will kind of fix the surging issues that I'm having. So, alright, we'll start by taking off a few clamps here. I'm going to loosen this hose clamp. That's a 7mm charge pipe hose. I didn't realize this. It looks like there's a dipstick already installed in the vehicle. It just needs the stick part. The tube is there. because these vehicles, you check your oil level inside with the electronics. So that's interesting. Didn't realize that. Oh, there's the throttle plate. Looks like there's a little bit of buildup on there. Nothing too bad though that would prevent it from closing. Maybe it might sneak by there a little bit. A little buildup right there in the corner. Might keep the flap from closing all the way. So we'll clean that up. Alright, next we got a few bolts here. These are all T30 as well. Except for this Allen right here, where the crankcase ventilation tube comes up into the intake pipe here. It looks like it's a V-band type connector. Got a 5mm. Here's to fit that. I tried this without taking the whole pipe off. Just this clamp, and then there's a couple of bolts that go to brackets that hold. I think there's one on this underside here. Alright, now rotate. Looks like that's a captured nut, and then got a little O-ring so the threaded part stays in there as well. We'll just spread that a little bit and let it dangle there. Alright. Looks like we'll need to take this bolt, this one, and then underneath this driver's side one. Need to come off, it looks like. I have to find out which models came with this dipstick installed. Maybe it's like a European model thing. Be easy enough just to put a stick in that tube. It's already there. Alright, we'll grommet on that. Set that aside. Yep. If you take this rubber piece of the charge pipe off to get more access, I would stuff a towel down inside there to make sure nothing falls into it. You don't want that. Anything that falls in there getting adjusted into the engine. Alright, now for swirl valves. Get this connector off. Pretty easy, just compress it into the connection and then depress this and it should bolt back just fine. And remember to reconnect those when you're on the other side of this project. Now, these are T30s as well, but mine appear to be stripped out, so I'm going to try a 5mm. So these bolts look like they're long enough that they not only mount this intake pipe, but they also sandwich the scroll flaps to the intake plenum. First two are the same size. I'm guessing they're all four the same size. I think what I'll do is I'll go look on Real OEM and I'll post the part number for this dipstick. See if I can find it for you, and I'll put that in the video later. Oh yeah, that's caked up pretty good. Look at that. Now after looking at this, maybe I do need to go into the intake plenum as well. You can see it kind of starts at this source right here. I think that's a little worse than I was expecting. This pipe seems okay. Oh my goodness, that is caked on there pretty good. Oh, there's one more T30 on the bottom. Kind of pivots on that one, it looks like. Interesting. Wonder if that's an alignment thing. So during reinstall, we'll be sure to install that pivot nut first, or pivot bolt. And that should put everything in the right orientation. Yep, that was it. And look at that. Super caked full. 125,000 miles. This could potentially cause some some idling issues or low throttle issues where it uses this lower or the higher plenum or whichever intake it is. Yeah, that's caked up pretty good too. Maybe I'll throw some solvents in there and try to blow some of it out. But I think after seeing this, I may need to go back in here and do the full plenum itself as well. That is caked up pretty good. That's a bit more of an involved process and more than what I'm willing to do today. That'll be more like a flow and performance thing, whereas this is an electronic control and like driver feel sort of thing. So we'll start with this and see how things look afterwards. All right, so we're gonna go at this with got some seafoam in here, throttle and air intake cleaner, and then a couple different brushes. I got a steel, a brass, and a plastic. Basically, you don't want to use like the steel abrasive ones on plastics or aluminum, anything that's harder or softer than it is, because you'll mar the surface and everything. We'll start here with the throttle plate, because it was kind of the least in the best condition anyway, say that. So here's the pile of crud that came out of just 3 components, mostly 2. This intake pipe, swirl flap actuator, and then the throttle plate. Now there's still quite a bit more inside the intake plenum. We'll go take a look at that. I'm not gonna take like I said, I'm not gonna take that off right now, but I put a little towel down. I'm gonna just scrape out these as far as I can reach into this towel, and then we'll reassemble and see how the idle surges and the low throttle, low speed tip-in stuff feels like. Hopefully a little bit more responsive. All right, so I've got just this metal scraper wedge tool. Kind of looks like a dental tool. Just gonna see what I can get out of here. Reassembly here. The gaskets are good. Remember, this can only go in one way. It's got a locating notch there. That T30. You're just going to plastic here, so don't over torque this. All right, so that's ready to go in. It does have this little Alright, next we're putting this back on. Remember, there's this locating pin down here, and then this pivot one. We'll attach that first so it holds it in the right location, and then bring the rest of that intake tube in. And the last electrical connector for the swirl flaps. And that is complete, other than the beauty cover. We'll throw that back on and take for a spin. Alright, let's see what this first start sounds and looks like. Damn, steering wheel's in the way. Yeah, so I don't know what the engagement point is for that swirl flap to open up the second set of runners, but just from the quick 10-minute drive that I did, that I normally notice things at about 35 miles an hour going into the neighborhood, felt much more responsive, and it definitely feels like it's got a little more power down low. So I think that was a success, and I will get back to that plenum itself. So initially I was having the surges around, well, at idle it was surging a little bit, and then also when driving into the neighborhood at 35 miles an hour, 3, 4, and 4, 5 shifts, light throttle, tip in, tip out type stuff is where I was feeling the most hesitation at, and that seems to be remedied. The other vehicle I have is a 97 Suzuki X90, pretty cool little thing. T-tops, 2-door, rear drive, automatic, but there'll probably be some more stuff coming for this thing. Fun little thing. That's it for now. Catch you all later.